Dominate one day at a time. Welcome back to Daily Decisions. Do you
Um,
know? Do you know apparently what that means when you don't look someone in the eye when you cheers?
it means bad luck. I'm
Nah, the
broken.
rain test is bad. A long time. But anyway, we're back. Daily Decisions, and we're here to help you dominate one day at a time. It's been a minute since you recorded,
Is
fam.
that why you looked at my eyes so deep?
I wasn't. I think what? What you think I'm trying to flop my team? I'm not trying to flop my team, you know. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, miss.
Hey, chill out, chill out, chill out, chill out. Focus, bro. Focus, bro. Because this is a daily decision to focus on what are we going to make fun of or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Is that the time? No, Ria, that's a crazy time. You know, is that how long it took us to get ready? Hey, guys, you know that I understand, yeah? In my head, we were
It's taken
recording.
us an hour to get ready
It's
to
actually
start
taken an
something.
hour to set up. That's outrageous. But let's just remember this setup so we're good for next time. And let's hope that the audio and video is clean. Do you get what I'm saying? Anyway, we're back. My name is Lewis Howell.
It's real.
Just real, yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
just
calm.
real,
You're good
just
with that. Yeah,
real.
that's it then.
Just
Sometimes
real.
just that's all you need to do to announce yourself. That's
Yeah.
calm. So we're ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna go straight into our first game because why are we even wasting time in life? Do you get what I'm saying? So this game is called Guess Who.
Okay.
So I've got someone in mind. I'm gonna say a number of decisions that this person's made. Ria's going to try and guess who it is. So welcome to Guess Who. This person chose to move out of their
Don't make it hella hard as well. Just to say, guys, Lewis always tries to make them hard. Don't make it hella hard. But let's go.
It's chosen, but this
Diddy.
chosen person, nah. And that's one guess right there. I'm not having it. This person, no, I'm not having it, man. Because no one told us to get ahead of ourselves. Who told you to get ahead of
Oh,
yourself, bro? This person chose to move out of their family home at the age of 17.
Drake.
No. This person was working in stockbroking before moving into their current career. Next one.
Go on.
This person first received recognition by doing Snapchat stories.
Steve the Madman.
No. Technically, that should be 4, but I'm going to leave it as 3.
Why would that be for?
Because Diddy was you said Diddy, Drake, then you let one go, and then he said Steve the Madman. That should be 4, but I'm going to leave it as 3 because I won't count your Diddy. So that means you've basically just got, well, you've got 2 more. This person chose to leave the original person that they used to do YouTube content with to build a relationship with somebody else that they do YouTube content with.
Harry Panero.
No, it's not Harry Panero.
But is it close?
Very close. Very close. This person.
Philly.
Correct. I was about to say a madness. I don't think you understand what I was about to say with the last one, you know.
Say this person has been accused of.
No, not even because it has to be a decision. I was going to say this person chose to go home with the wrong person after the club in Australia, boy. That's what I was going to say, fam. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, it was Young Philly. It was Young Philly. So Ria gets
broken, you know.
1 point.
No,
If
no,
that,
no.
you're lucky. I
There's
shouldn't even
4.
give you the point, bro.
4.
Whoa, you guessed bare wrong answers, bro.
No.
It's
I
only
guess
5 if you get it after the first
I
one.
guess 3 wrong answers.
You guess okay.
So that
Let's
means I
count
have
them.
3
Let's
points.
count them. Behave. You can't. You guessed Drake. You let 1 go, so that's 2. You said Steve the Madman, that's 3.
And
You said
then
Harry Panero, that's 4. So that's 4 you've currently got wrong. So it's 1 point. It's 1 point. Put 1 point on the screen, please. Thank you very much.
1
Okay,
point still better than no points.
here we go. We say about Young Philly though. It's tense, isn't it?
Very tense. I don't follow the storyline like that, but Young Philly, I've always had my little inkling about certain things. This. Let me not even put too many words out there because we don't know what could be true, what's not. But sometimes when you're in the light, certain things just get misconstrued. Nobody knows the truth at the end of the day, apart from you, Young Philly. So if you're watching this, that's all I have to say.
It's mad how we think he might be watching it, innit? Like, it's mad how we really think
No,
he might be watching, but you never know. We might grow, innit? We might grow, and then, or we will grow. That's 100%. But no, it's real. Like the way I look at it, yeah, it's hard because Well, I'm not saying that somebody isn't allowed to build a connection when they go out and do what they want to do, but like, yeah, you just have to be more wary in today's age about things that you deem as acceptable, not knowing 100% if the other person deems as accessible. There could be substance involved. Do you know what I'm saying? That means that things get misconstrued.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
And especially when you're in the public eye, you can't do anything. You can't do anything without somebody in the corner watching you. Like, you can't even pick your nose in private.
That's it. Should you pick a nose?
Because
That's each.
sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to.
I guess so. Fair enough. Do you get what I'm saying? Fair
You
enough.
shouldn't be
Guys, let
picking
us know
your
in the
nose
comments if you think picking our noses is a daily decision. That'll help us to dominate one day at a time. So anyway, we're now going to move it on. Ria has 1 point. We're going to go into the 1 word week. Cool. Ria, what are you saying to us? Describe your week in 1 word.
My week in 1 word, tiring.
Mm.
And it's a good type of tiring. Even to this day, I'm tired. And the reason I say that is because there's been a lot of like late night slash early mornings type thing in terms of like, not to say that I don't go to bed kind of late anyway. I don't usually go to bed after about 12 on a good day and wake up around about 7. So that's about 7 hours sleep usually on a good day that I get. But there's been a lot of things. I've just been trying to push gas on certain things so that systems are in place so that I can,
Give the people them more detail though, because you know what I mean? One thing I clocked when we used to record, we're a bit cryptic.
for example, I've got a funnel that I built out last week. Um, just trying to organize certain systems in terms of like service delivery, in terms of me, how I onboard certain people, how I would go about like maintaining, my work, making sure my work is up to a good standard, my 7PK work, and content is going out and stuff like that, amongst other things. So just trying to one systemize your life, but systemize everything else so that later on down the line it can run smoothly. But because me, I'm trying to like move at speed right now because I realized I wasn't moving with proper urgency before. Because I'm trying to move at speed right now, it was just like, right, I'm willing to sacrifice a couple of late nights to be able to be like, next couple of weeks are gonna be a lot more easier for me in terms of just like, cool, now we can just get the ball rolling on certain
I
things.
feel like I was such a norm in the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
I remember when I was first starting and I had a couple of those nights where it was like, when I used to run my marketing agency and I was making I wanted to make one of them animation videos to go
Yeah.
on my website, and I
Yeah.
made it myself.
Yeah.
Like I found a website that I could do it, and I remember I did it all night and banged it out on my own. Do you get what I'm saying? And it was cold as well. Like I remember it being hard. It's probably still, it is still on YouTube, 100%. I'm gonna find it and show you after. But yeah, no, you
Was it
sometimes you
the
just
when it went from box to box? Because I think I've seen some of your old YouTube videos.
no, this one even. Oh, you're talking about something else. I'm talking about an animation video that was like for my marketing agency,
Oh, oh, oh,
literally for exponential marketing, like an explainer video.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I made one. I made one.
Yeah.
I made one. I've done some things, fam. But yeah, sorry,
You've done
carry on.
some things, but yeah, just tiring in the sense that because I was still like let's take yesterday for example. I must have went to bed maybe about 4:30, and then I was up again at like 9:30. But the quality of the sleep weren't good. And then
Mm.
when you're up and then still doing certain things, it's just like, bruv, my brain weren't there, but somehow I was making it work. Somehow we're here today, still making it work. Because I definitely had a late one last night as well. But it is what it is, and I'm
Yeah.
happy for it. So yeah,
But what made you want to change change pace when you said you're increasing the urgency? Why?
because I've just like certain realizations that I've had is just like, not to say that I didn't know these things before, but the urgencies come in terms of like, what are you doing in it? Like, just what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes
Ah,
when you sit, like, when you're just in a room, guys, yeah, and it's like, you take yourself out of your body for a second, and it's just like you're walking around watching yourself. What are you doing there? Why are you on your phone right now? Why are you watching TV right now? What are you doing?
and do you know what the wickedest thing with that is? Yeah, is like this is why I always say, like we're so quick to give other people advice, but we don't
Yeah,
always take our own advice.
yeah,
And I believe that if the way you start to give yourself good advice, you have to. I don't know if we talked about this before, but you have to talk about yourself in the third person. You have to become the observer and not the subject
Yeah.
within your life if you're going to be able to make better decisions. That's my belief. You have to almost, as you said, start to see yourself versus be yourself. Do you get what I'm saying? Oh, bars. No, you have to see yourself instead of be yourself. And the reason for that is because, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as you remove yourself from being in the situation, believing that, common phrase, life is happening to you, and you move into seeing yourself, then what you start to realize is life is happening for you. And so then you start to operate accordingly. Like, so many people played The Sims growing up, but they're not playing The Sims in their life.
Yeah, and I used to play Hella Club Penguin. Ben Weevils used to
Don't know what that is, but
build my own castles and build Ben Weevil, but you have to do the same in real life. And I think the main pushing point for me was being around certain friends and having certain phone calls come to my phone, and it's just like, not to say I don't love you guys as people, but I know if I pick up this phone conversation right now, the phone conversation is not going to be about anything I want to talk about. And then I was thinking to myself, but this is my circle, and unless I do something to take myself outside of my circle, this is what it's going to be until I decide to change that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I want better life experiences. I want to be able to give people around me better life experiences. So I was just like, yeah, bro, what are you doing? Kind of thing. And the funniest thing is when I started with my late nights, literally in the space of maybe like a week or two, things that could have happened a long time ago happened and have started to build. So
such
as just things in the pipeline, workflows in the pipeline, and yeah, more opportunities for me basically.
that's what we like to hear, fam. That's what we like to hear. And that's good still. And I think that's a good lesson for people as well, because sometimes I'm just going to quote specifically Eric Thomas in this case versus suggesting something that, we created. But, like I love from one of Eric Thomas's old mixtapes. I think it was there was Blueprint to Success, Heart of Detroit. And the third one was Greatness is Upon You. Yeah. It was the Greatness is Upon You mixtape. I'm sure there was one of the tracks on there. It's called Procrastination. And it had a clip at the start, yeah. I think it was a clip from an interview, maybe with ASAP Rocky or something, and he goes like, "So how does it feel to be an overnight success?" And he goes, "Overnight, huh?" And then it just like goes into the music. But the point I'm getting at is the actual message. He basically says there's no such thing as procrastination. Procrastination is you don't have your priorities in order. Because he's like, listen, it's not important to you, it's somewhat important to you, it's very important to you, or it's an emergency. And it's only when we start to move like it's an emergency, that's when we start to realize, oh, suddenly I've got the time to do this thing that I said I didn't have time for. Oh, suddenly I've got the energy to do it. Suddenly I've got the headspace to do it. Suddenly I've got the creativity to do it. Suddenly I've got but it's because it's not become an emergency to you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, we always go on like there's tomorrow. Now, I say I'm not religious, but I do believe in God. But I also heard E.T.'s right hand, well, not his right hand man, one of his right hand men, Carl, say, he said something like procrastination is you saying to God that you assume that the opportunity that you've been given today is going to be available to you tomorrow.
Yep.
So you're basically saying to God, don't worry, I know you got me. I know you got me. I know you got me.
He doesn't.
I know you got me. It'll be there tomorrow.
That's a valid point, because at the end of the day, God will humble you. God has humbled me in certain ways, and do you know what? Like basically, the mindset behind it was, you see, when you were saying move like it's urgent type thing. One note I wrote on my whiteboard was, yesterday's price is not today's price. And me being a trader, I know that firsthand. Yesterday's price is really not today's price, literally in real life. But also, I think, can't remember what podcast I was watching, but it just said that unless you work like you're broke, like you have £0, 0 pence in your bank account, you'll just stay stagnant and you'll just keep living paycheck to paycheck.
That's it. You get
so
hungry.
But yeah,
That's how you have to move. Like, and that's why people that don't know. So in the UK, we have Dragon's Den. In America, they have Shark Tank. One of the sharks on there, Damon John, founder of Fubu. For those that don't know Fubu, For Us By Us. It was a clothing brand that was huge in the 90s, maybe 80s as well, but 90s for sure in the hip hop world, because a lot of rappers and that were wearing it as hip hop was growing and whatever. But Damon John is one of the sharks on Shark Tank, and he has a book called The Power of Broke. And that's what he talks about. He says, even as a multimillionaire, he still is on the vibe of, I'm moving like I'm broke. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
because then when I go to start this new business or invest in this new business, we're gonna move with an energy like we're We ain't got it. Do you get what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to make it happen, and that's facts. But just the point you made about missed opportunities, yo, like this is why I'm saying we gotta keep it 100 with people when they watch and listen to this. Like even me, yeah. Now, obviously, I don't mind because like I had my daughter in July, my second daughter, love you, baby. My second daughter, and I was very comfortable, given that she was born mid-July, with spending what is usually a quieter time for us in the business, July and August, being a bit more in a baby bubble, right? And that was fine. But then I didn't come back into work and stuff with enough urgency. And that left, I'd probably say we missed out on a good 30 to 35K worth of business as a result of that. Reason being, there was a couple of opportunities. One, somebody DM'd me on LinkedIn saying, actually, we're looking to see if we can work with a consultancy company around this. And it was really aligned to what we do. Someone had recommended us to them. Another person, it was like, oh yeah, we're looking for a consultant to work with us in this space. Here's the brief. And then another one, it was like, oh, this organization is looking for consultants, but it's an organization I already have a relationship with anyway. They already know of us, know of our work. So if we had actually turned around and said, let's have a chat, it probably would. But when I looked at the total that all of that could have brought in, minimum would have been about 30K. But I let the time elapse. A couple of them, I was like, saw it, or I responded to us, and yeah, I'll get back to you by next week. But
You
then
didn't.
things were just happening, wasn't necessarily fully on top of stuff, whatever. And it wasn't as if to say man was being idle. There was just other work, but I didn't prioritize those things. And so as a result, I looked at now. I don't really cry over those things because I look at it like if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. And also, we're quite fortunate to be in a position where we don't have to worry too much about doing that new business because we've got other business that's cooking up and we've got other business that we're doing. But if we moved like we were broke, we would have been, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's the thing. But sometimes it's not good to be that hungry because sometimes you end up taking the little deal that's not really healthy for you. Do you get what I'm saying? In the same way, when you're man hungry, you're gonna eat that fast food, bro.
Might eat something that's just
You might
cost £2.
but that's what I'm saying. That's why they say don't go to the supermarket hungry because the things you end up buying is brazy.
Yeah.
Like you're buying mad biscuits and crisps and things, but you're not buying it because you want it in your house. It's because you're hungry now and you're thinking I'll eat it today, and then you're like, why did I buy this?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why they say, but eat before you go to the supermarket, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? So you're already satisfied. So then you make better decisions. But at the same time, if you move like you are hungry, you're not letting them opportunities go by. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You just make it happen. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, it's real. It's real.
It's real.
I like that. So yeah, that's your word, yeah?
It's my word.
Tiring. But it sounds like urgency might be a word in there still.
Urgency that led to tiredness. That's 4 words, but still. Urgency.
It's definitely 5.
Alright, cool.
Definitely.
Tiredness is the word though.
So
But yeah.
my word of this week is, and it's weird because it's not actually a descriptor, it's more of a state, but vocal. Like I feel like this last week I've just been hella vocal. Like vocalizing my feelings in terms of in my relationship space, vocalizing my thoughts when I'm in the space of different parts around work, vocalizing my intentions when I'm around friends, vocalizing my intentions even with yourself and Nat because we've obviously been being a lot more intentional around our accountability space, vocalizing my concerns, even down to like the meeting I was in today, which, I have the utmost respect for all the partners that were in that room for this roundtable around youth employment. But like, there was just so many things in the conversation that I thought were just being overlooked and were gaps. And I just waited until the very end to say, I'm not going to say nothing throughout unless I'm invited into the conversation. The conversation didn't kind of naturally come to me, or nobody said, oh, Lewis, what do you think? And then it's funny because we did like an activity before the event was going to close. And during that activity where people were having their own discussions, the person facilitating came over to me and said, "Oh, you all right?" And I said, "Oh no, I'm great, but I just got a lot to say." And I was like, so let me know. I was like, so let me know if you want to bring me in, just let me know, innit? And then yeah, they brought me in and then they were like, well, we only got 2 minutes. And I'm saying this with the utmost love and respect, but it's now my time. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, when now on my time. No, I didn't say it's now my time. When they said we've got 2 minutes, I said, oh, okay, well, we'll see because this might not be 2 minutes. And then I just started talking. And then after the 2 minutes, they were kind of waving at me in it. And I said, no, I can see you waving, but this is an unstoppable train right now. So I'm going to continue talking. And I just carried on. And it wasn't a disrespect of the space. It wasn't a disrespect of the person. And it wasn't a disrespect of the time. But it was like, for me, it's more important that I say what needs to be said in this space for the influence it could have over the people who are here today, who clearly care about this area of work, who clearly want to go away and do something differently, who, in my opinion, do not want to come somewhere just for it to be a talking shop and to be like, hey guys, look what we did, but actually want to see something different be done. Let me say what I need to say in it. So if it takes me 3.5 minutes, it takes 3.5. If it takes four, it takes four, but it needs to be said. Because as far as I'm concerned, we can't just have a jolly up. Look, we had some nice lunch and had a good chat. And then, as with one of the key people, as far as I'm concerned, I'd call them one of the key people who was round the table, who was invited there. I so happened to be in the lift with her on the way down to reception after. And I said to her, like, so how was that for you? And she went, it was good. And it was like, babes, come on now.
Babes,
I was like,
you're not giving a real
you
right
feel
now.
me? So I said to her, no, like, what's really going on for you, innit? She's like, just, I hear this stuff a lot, innit? And I was like, right, that's why I said what I said at the end. And she said, yeah, exactly. I'm glad you did because da da da. And I'm like, see, or else she would have left there going, it was good, but it wasn't moving the needle. It wasn't pushing the envelope. By the way, where the heck does this saying pushing the envelope come from? Pushing the envelope.
Through the letterbox.
You might be a genius. You might actually be a genius. If we Google this and that's the truth, like genuinely, you're a genius. Like that is so smart, fam. But if that's not it, you need to allow it as well. Because if that's not it, you need to actually allow it.
Pushing the envelope. Probably is. And that's one thing I noticed about you. You are just in general a very vocal person, even if it's just about
more recently though.
no, it's definitely been more, which I can see that. But I'm just saying, in general, you're quite a vocal person. So I'm just saying, if something's led you to be like, nah, I need to be extra vocal right now. I know that there's something underlying that is like, I need to say this.
And do you know what that is? Do you know what that is, Ria? Yeah. It comes in time with where I think my energy right now, I am just in a space right now where my energy is kind of like, I said this at the residential, and I know that when I say stuff like this, people think that I'm just trying to be like those people online, but I do like it as a descriptor because it just says everything it needs to say. Like, this is going to sound sacrilegious, but if you're someone who's Christian and you believe God is the I am, then why can't I be him? Do you get what I'm saying? So when people say I'm him, I don't know if people are taking like how it's used online in certain settings. I think it's become corny, but I know what I mean when I say I'm him, as in like I'm willing to stand in all of the strength, power, elegance, everything that comes with being Lewis Howell. Not with being a quote unquote man, not with being an alpha, not with being none of that bullshit. I'm talking about just being Lewis Howell. That's him. When I say him, that's what I mean. As in like I've come to realize that I'm sorry, there's far too many environments where I'm able to solve problems, far too many environments where I'm able to raise the energy where it's necessary, far too many situations where I'm able to help people to overstand due to my overstanding in a significant way, far too many situations where I'm asking the right questions. As a result, it's actually important that I assert my presence through my voice, given that that is one of the many ways that I've been blessed to be able to have influence. I'm able to use my voice well. I can speak well. I can articulate well. I know that I can flex and adapt to different things that I communicate in different environments to have the desired impact. So who am I to not use that? Who am I to not do that?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's actually wrong of me not to. So I think that's why I've just come to realize man needs to be vocal because or else we're gonna keep letting things that, as far as I'm concerned, are not having a positive impact on communities and society continue to persist. But then it's like, who am I going to blame? Myself, because I wasn't vocal enough.
But then it's like, you're not being sacrilegious about that because obviously God made man in his image. Obviously. So it's just
Yeah.
there's certain godly traits that people express, obviously, and that you should recognize within yourself, but also this is your mission. Like, and some people I feel like the people that are going to be watching this, you'll know if you're a chosen one. And when you're a chosen one,
How'd you know?
sometimes, huh?
How'd you know?
You know you're a chosen one when I would say when your calling is higher but your path is harder, for one.
Say that again slowly, because that's cold still.
Your calling is higher but your path is harder. But your path is harder because you're meant to help a lot of people on the way. And I think, like, for example, like let's talk about you, for example. You've been through certain
That's been a hard path, man.
it's been certain trials and tribulations that have led you to get to this point because
For lunch and that. Anyway, yeah, like carry on.
it's gonna be your story, isn't it?
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to relate to certain people the way that you do. You wouldn't be able to like see things from people's perspective, or people wouldn't be able to feel like they relate to you. You wouldn't even be able to raise the energy because you wouldn't know what they're going through, if that makes sense.
Word.
So that's what I'm saying. Chosen ones, they just get it. Do you know what I mean? Like you just get it. Like it's one of them things like real recognize real, but then also chosen ones, it's just like you know what your purpose is and you just do it so effortlessly and everyone just like to you, you can just do that. Like I can just see that's just what you do. Do you know what I mean? People gravitate towards you naturally. People are always looking to you for the answers. People always think you have your shit together, even when you may not, but it's just because that's the way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
But it's just like God chose you for this life. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? This life chose me. I didn't choose it, even though I did. But you know what I mean?
No, but it's true, and I think that sometimes being able to embrace that as a concept can be challenging for some people. And I do think everything you just said will help them to embrace that. And on the flip side, there's some people who maybe they've almost tried to self-appoint themselves as a chosen one. So my question almost becomes, what do you do when, let's say it's a friend, let's say it's a family member, let's say it's a colleague, but you can tell they've tried to self-appoint. How do we address that? Do we leave them to it? Because that could potentially be damaging, you know?
When you
Like,
say self, what do you mean by self-appointment?
they've just decided, yeah, I'm a chosen one.
Do you know what it is? When people do that, I leave them to it because I would never want to be the person in somebody's mind to make them think that they're not, because that just means you're just
What
like
about Trump?
Trump.
Because that's self-appointed.
That's self-appointed, but I personally think Trump's karma has come to him.
How so?
He got shot in the side of the head, fam, and
Whether
and
that was real or not is the next thing.
and
But go
yeah,
on,
whoever was,
go on.
but also look at Trump's face. How do you feel like it must feel to live with a face like that? How do you feel like it must feel to know that half of the population hates you? How do you think it must feel to know that that you only got to live your dreams? You only even got to be president when you turn 70 years old. What does that say? When he's 70 years old, he only got to experience that level. And I'm not saying that that's no thing to the people. It's better late than never. And that's not to the chosen people that actually might be older and still waiting for their big break. But I'm just saying Trump though. Do you know what I mean? Like, nah, he's not a chosen one. You can just tell the essence of it just tells like it's like this little aloe vera plant here, bro. When you ooze it out, like there's stuff that comes out. Trump's
Ah, Ria, that's the biggest pause ever be on this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. That is crazy. Why on earth did you just do that?
no look
Nah, like, I know you were flowing, but that's a wild thing. Because then you did this after, and you saw like the drawback and that it was nuts. Nah, Ria,
did got that
the
part.
pause. Nah, keep this
Guys, there's
in. Keep this in.
no pause,
Clip
guys.
this and put. We're gonna put a poll. We're gonna put a poll on the Instagram,
Oh,
and I ain't too clued up on
but
TikTok
guys,
like that. But we're putting a poll somewhere.
you see this, yeah? This is what essence is, and whether Lewis wants to say pause or not, this essence, when I put it on my skin, that's why my skin's clear, right? Essence.
You're gonna look.
But
I
if
don't drink aloe vera Massimo, but
but
go
if
on, go on.
but if I was to put something that's poisonous on my skin, eczema, that's like Trump essence. See what I'm trying to say? This is what chosen ones are. Essence of chosen ones makes your skin soft. The essence of non-chosen ones makes you deteriorate. That's basically what I was trying to say.
Leave your thoughts in the comments, brother.
All right.
Yo, yo, that's funny. Still, that's funny. That's funny. Anyway, my word of the week is vocal. My word of the week is vocal. Hey, listen, that's funny. Still, I'm gonna go into the. What do you call this section?
Decision of the day.
Yeah, you're going in. Decision of the day.
Yeah.
Decision of the day. All right, Ria. So listen,
Yeah, listening loud and clear.
you've applied for a job, entry level, or actually, it doesn't have to be entry level, but let's say entry level, so that potentially the people who we think are going to be watching and listening to this can relate. You applied for a job. The way they're doing the interview is it's a group interview. Yeah, so it's not
Okay.
one to one. It's group. Yeah. you think you've done well, but you're getting the vibe from one or two of the people who are part of the selection process who are present. They're not feeling you that much. You're not sure why. You don't know if it's a bias thing, but they're not feeling you that much. Anyway, they call you later that day. You didn't get the job.
Mm.
You've accepted it, but then they call you the next morning and they say, actually, we've had a change of heart. We would like to offer you the job. But in your mind, you're thinking the person that was in that group interview that you're assuming they went with because they seem to be showing more of a liking to them than to you. Maybe you didn't get the job. They didn't want the job. So in your mind, what are you doing? Are you taking the role, knowing that it doesn't seem like they were really loving you like that? You were second choice, all of that, or are you saying, you know what, maybe I'll look for something else?
First things first, I don't want to be unrealistic because it depends on the situation I'm in. Because if I was in a dire situation where I needed money and I needed to pay my bills, best believe I'm taking that job because I'm not here at the job for you. I'm here to make my money. That's one thing. But two, also, I just know within it's the person that I am. My pride's set up too high. If I feel like you don't like me, I'm not gonna be around you. I don't want to work with you. I've left jobs over less. Like I remember one time I was working in a call center one time, and it was sales. It did teach me a couple like little bits about sales, and then sorry that we're coming off the path here from the question, but it's gonna come back round. Yeah, the woman, the manager at the place, she was just like, you know how sales managers are, do this, do that, whatever.
Doing too much.
And then how can she say to me, she used to give us like, she used to make us like tea and toast or like come and bring us tea to our desk. And then one time she said to me at lunch that, do you ever have to push your poo out with your hands? I was like, what? And she said, I sometimes, because I don't like to sit on the toilets in in the toilets, I have to squat down and I have to put my hands in myself and then push the poo out from this way, like this. Like
This was a random.
she was giving me demonstrations, and then she was just like, "It's even harder when I'm on my period." I was like, from then, I thought to myself, "Nah, this woman's made me tea. This woman had
Oh my! I forgot about that.
he toast like." And then I thought to myself, from that day I was like, there's no amount of money in
Never heard someone do that.
yes, never have
But
I
when I say do that, I'm not talking about do the actual thing. I'm about talk about it.
about it because you don't do that stuff. But it
Family.
made me realize, yeah, that, and I had to get on a bus. I went home that day and I was like, I just need to get rich 'cause I don't want to be here. And I remember getting on a bus that day, and it was an hour bus drive, and I got on the bus halfway, half an hour. I was thinking to myself, what am I doing, bro? And I got off the bus and I went home, and they'd been called me about 2 months after that day, and I just never went back. They didn't hear from me, no resignation, no phone call, nothing. But I say that to say that I'm not gonna stay in a place where I don't feel respected or I don't feel like my morals or my values are met. But it also relating back to this scenario now, if I feel like you don't like me or you're giving me bad energy or bad vibes and I haven't even got the job yet, and then you're trying to gaslight me because I know the truth. You didn't want me at first.
Mm.
How am I gonna go and be in a job with you for how long, feeling like we've already started off on the wrong foot? That's not a good way to start a job.
Yeah, it is a hard one. First of all, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know. I really need you to tell that story in a way where I understand the full detail. Because if what you just said is exactly how it went, I'm scared.
Exactly how it went.
So you was just sitting there doing your work, and she just
No, basically what she started doing is to boost up the morale of the sales. What she would do is she went to Poundland opposite the place, and she got a bag of like just goodies. There would be soap in there, whatever, like rice pack noodles, whatever, just little goodies in it. And every hour she would roll a dice, and we would all have to guess a number. And whoever's number it was, you put your hand in a bag and you grab out what it is. And then what did I grab out? I think I grabbed out she got as a joke stool softener, and I picked out the stool softener. I was like, oh, okay, but I'm not gonna need it, kind of thing.
yeah.
And that's where the story came from. She's like,
That's
"You ever been in a
crazy.
spirit
No,
thing?"
I don't even understand why she would think she should share that in a public domain,
Honestly,
and also why you're doing it.
honestly, and she was evil, but
What did she like? starting to think about her diet and that, bro. Just her diet, her bodily functions. Anyway,
Uh,
so anyway, back to the focus. So
that spun your head, didn't it?
you can't believe that. I've never, because all I'm thinking in my head is like
Why would you share
aloe vera, bruv. Just cut a piece of that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why would you
Blend that
share
down with some juice or something and drink that, and you'll be fine, bro. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so in that situation, as you said, context is key.
Yeah.
You know, is the person in a financial situation to say, actually, I'm going to look for something else? But arguably, this does beg the question of like, you know, there's that saying. I say that saying. I've only ever heard it from one source, and it was actually ET's mum. But ET's mum says, you shouldn't be jealous when your neighbor gets the mail because that means the mailman's in the area. So like that opportunity didn't necessarily work out for you this time, then it was offered to you. Now that could be the blessing in its own right. It could be actually that the blessing is it has now come back around and you're being asked and tested as to how much you value this opportunity. But it could also be, bless you, it could also be that it is a test to understand that you don't need to jump at this thing if you're not getting the right vibe from it because something else is coming for you, i.e., that neighbor, that person who got the job ahead of you, their mail came, but that doesn't mean your mail's not coming because the
Yeah.
mailman's in the area. Do you get what I'm saying? So they're local. So I obviously think if someone's in a situation where it's like, I just need to be able to pay my bills, whatever, cool. Try prevent being in a situation like that if you can. If you're in a position where you can start to build up a bit of a safety net by way of saving or whatever it might be, try and put yourself in that position so that you know, on a frequent basis, you're not in a position where you're absolutely strapped. Things will always arise. No one's denying that. Things will always happen that might put you in a challenging scenario. Even the quote unquote richest person in terms of financial liquidity
Yeah.
probably still runs into some challenges and needs to, you know, get out of a sticky one. So I'm not saying that that's not possible. Sticky one after what Ria did earlier. Anyway, yeah. But
jelly?
we're moving on. But anyway, yeah. But like yeah, if you are, even if you are in that situation, the thing you have to also ask yourself is the balance between like the money that comes in and also the environment and culture, the impact it may have on your mental health. You know, do you go and work there for that period of time? And by the way, it could just be you didn't get a right vibe off them in that interview, but they might be the most amazing colleagues and the most amazing organization. You just didn't get the vibe on that day. So this is where I think the whole podcast exists for this reason. It's about decision making. It's about saying, do I trust that just because I didn't get a vibe today, that things can't improve and be better? And maybe I was misguided in what I thought today, but it could be better if I was actually working there. Or do I trust that maybe this is a bullet worth trying to swerve in order to be able to take a different decision and do something differently? So, yeah,
Also, just on that point, and this is for anyone watching this, whether you have a 9 to 5, whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you don't want to be putting yourself in a position where you're solely relying on a job to be paying for certain things. Because I can see firsthand how that not only affects your stress levels, but two, you don't have any time for yourself. Your quality of life is not going to be standard if we're being 100% honest,
yeah,
because not to say you're slaving because you might enjoy your job, but you do not have the decision or the option to be like, I can walk away from this if I so choose to. And that's why I'm saying the culture around it, it might be good, but is your mental health more important?
that's what it is. That's literally what it is. So I think in that situation, I would probably suggest giving it a go.
Yeah.
Something drew you to the opportunity in the first place, I assume. So put your focus on that. It might also be an opportunity to develop your ability to navigate potentially challenging people or to build relationships with people that you don't necessarily take an immediate liking to. And that's part of what's needed for your growth and development right now. The people that you come across in this world, professionally or otherwise, are not all going to be like you. They're not all going to be your cup of tea straight away. There's people that work for some of our clients who are not my cup of tea, but I'm just playing the game of like, how does Lewis Howell become the kind of individual that can still work effectively with these people, even because they're not impacting my mental health. They're not disrespecting me. They're not putting me down. They're not getting in the way of our work. They're just not my kind of personality that I immediately vibe with. But I need to learn how to vibe with them. So as far as I'm concerned, that's more important. And it's not about doing it just to keep the client and just to have the business, but no, because our work is very relational, and I want to build those relationships. So yeah, for me, I think I'd probably lean on the side of still take it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Um,
And help them also see, should have respected my gangster the first time round. You should have
no,
picked
for
me, bro.
real.
Do you get me?
And
So,
last point on this, you guys have to remember also what you're using a job for. You might just be using a job for income, but you also might just be there to learn a certain skill, to put something on your CV and whatever. But as long as you have an exit plan and you know you're going into this job with the mindset of, all right, cool, I'm just here to do this. You don't need to be getting into domestics with people because you don't need to be giving them that
that much
level of
energy.
energy. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, of
mean? So
course. Facts.
just do what you came here to do and separate work and life.
You have to do it, man. It's only right.
So this one is going to be in relation to something that's kind of big at the moment, which a lot of you have probably heard of, the Diddy case. But I want to know on the outcome for example, I've been seeing like his son will post on Instagram and post like extensive paragraphs about how people are now saying things about his mum, saying things about his daughter, saying things about his brothers and stuff like that. But did you think about the outcome of his decisions on not only himself but his children and the legacy of his children's mother? Because if we were to keep it all the way in 100, Sean Combs, I kind of fuck with his music, but it's just like now we're seeing him in the light of, are you involved in this whole whatever's going on? And now he might be treated with the same type of demeanor that Diddy's getting, or the same type of disrespect. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Did he think about his children and family? My answer would be no. And you could argue that he was at the point at which he was building his business empire because, oh, yeah, but he was building generational wealth for his family and he used his contacts and his leverage and his fame to be able to give a better start to music to his, whatever children are involved in the entertainment industry. So you could argue, oh, yeah, that's doing that. But if all the other things that he supposedly, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because we don't know for sure, but if all the other things that he's allegedly done he was actually doing, then you weren't thinking about them. And they weren't as important to you as you think. Because as far as I'm concerned, how you do something is how you do everything. As far as I'm concerned, if you stand on principle, you stand on principle. If the principle is to be able to prepare your children to thrive in life, you can't build with one hand and tear down with the other. Which means you can't be saying, oh yeah, like I'm gonna give them an opportunity to thrive in entertainment and I'm gonna, build these businesses so they have access to generational wealth. But then if he is doing a madness, you're doing a madness over there. Like, bro, it doesn't line up. Because even just on a spiritual level, it's tainted now. It's messy. It's murky. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not pure, fam. It's not, you're not allowing that energy that you're supposedly trying to generate for good to continuously flow because you're mashing it up over there. You're mashing up the flow. But then also, you're putting yourself in a position where if for whatever reason this stuff was found out, which it seems like people may be finding out things that are
Years
whatever,
old.
yeah, whatever level of real we believe it is. If that is the case, then all you're doing is you're putting them in a position now where everything comes crumbling down. That can't be the story for your children and family. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not good enough. So the way I look at it is you didn't care about them as much as you say you did. Because I know for my children, if I was building the businesses that I'm building now, looking to make the decisions around investments that I'm intending to make, looking to do all of the, instilling them with principles, values, guidance, all of that. But then I'm doing a madness over there. It's like, bro, you can't care about them that much then.
Yeah.
You can't care about your wife, your extended family, cousins, uncles, aunties, nephews, nieces, whatever. You can't care about your friends and the community you represent that much because or else you want to represent them in everything you do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to represent my children in the quality to which I wash dishes, the quality to which I wash clothes, the quality to which I clean my house, the quality to which I speak to people in public. That's all a representation of my clan.
Yeah.
You understand? So, yeah,
And I think as well, the nature of the things that were ousted is like, if you can do that to other human beings, what do you have the capabilities of doing to your own children? Do you know what I'm trying to say? And that makes me a little bit scared for them, because what if they are now so trained up to be to know how to move in the public eye that they don't feel confident or comfortable to say, this is what I've experienced through my own father, or I feel pressure now to put such and such post on social media because I'm trying to protect something that's just been instilled into me over a long period of time. And yeah, I just think it's especially when you get to a certain level and you have something to protect and maintain, I don't feel like you should be moving with decision making that is just gonna make everything crumble. Because if you claim you love the people around you, you wouldn't want them finding out that stuff.
Nah,
You wouldn't want them like feeling like this guy's work was all for nothing, because now, really and truly, if you think about it, his work has all been for nothing, because it's hard to shake reputations like this. Reputation sticks with you. It takes years to build your reputation and just 1 second to tear it down. You know what I mean? So
that's what I'm saying. And like, I don't know, man. I just think to myself, this is what daily decisions is really all about. You know, I'm probably gonna say this in every episode, but the truth is, like, you have an opportunity every time you can make a decision. You have an opportunity to say, what kind of person do I want to continuously become? And what reflection of the people who are associated with me will that create? Do you get what I'm saying? Because, as far as I'm concerned, if I classify myself as somebody who is part of, well, obviously, yes, the family based on my last name, the family based on the last name of my mother, if it's not my dad, for example, the family of the people who are my extended family, because whatever, or if I say I'm a representation of, in my nuclear family, I am now a representation of my children, of my partner, whatever, like, that's all well and good. But even if I was to go less close to home and say I'm just a representation of somebody who's in the soca community in the UK, because I love soca, I'm involved in it, I do things in it, events, content, trying to create initiatives that are going to go about uniting people of Caribbean heritage. That means everything I do is representative of that community now. Because if I go and mash up the thing and do a madness, but I'm heavily tied in with that, or people associate with me with that, I could potentially be having a negative impact on that whole community. So I've got to be conscious of how that decision, that we have an opportunity every time. In the same way, and big up Nat, yeah, Nat said this the other day. Now, we both know Nat's super responsible, Nat's super on point. But Nat said after an event that we were commissioned to be part of running, one evening, a friend was coming to meet with her for a quick drink to catch up. And she's like, even though I know I'm not going to do a madness, I still, as soon as I got to the place where we're going to go and have a drink, I took off my 7PK t-shirt. Just because in my mind, I don't want 7PK to even be associated with anything that could even be perceived
to be
as negative or you know what I mean, off path. And I just thought, rah, I appreciate that and I respect that, because she's like, no, this is the brand we're building. This is what it's about. Do you know what I'm saying? How are we representing it? And it's true. Everywhere I go, I'm representing you. I'm representing Natalie. I'm representing all the young people we work with. I'm representing all the clients we have. So I've got to carry myself accordingly. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, we have to look at the responsibility that comes with it. Like, there's a great I got this from Inky Johnson, but he references Planet of the Apes, the film, and you know, it's gonna sound crazy, but I've never watched any Planet of the Apes films.
No,
Not
you're
one.
bugging.
Not one.
That's
Like,
that's even
genuinely.
worse for me than not
I've
watching
seen
any of the
clips.
Harry Potters.
No, I've been watching Harry Potter.
No,
What? I've read every book
Planet of the
and watched
Apes,
every
bro.
film.
Planet of the Apes is one of the best classic films known to man.
So you should know what I'm about to say then. So apparently Caesar, at one point, he takes a stick, breaks it,
Yeah.
and then he takes a load of sticks and then he struggles to break and says, see, this is what it is. In life, we are obviously a lot more fragile when we think we're only representing ourselves. But when we realize that we are operating in unity, in communion with others, community, yeah, communion, unity, that's when we become strong. But in the same way, Inky Johnson then linked it to the Maya Angelou quote that I may be seen as one, but I represent 10,000. You represent the 10,000 different people who influenced your ancestor, who gave you a smile on that day, who, wrote that book that you read, who, helped to shape that piece of work that you did that you're so proud of, or like literally we are interdependent. There's nothing we do. This chair we're sitting on was probably the product of 100 people's contributions. This table that I'm leaning on is probably the outcome of 100 people's contributions. So we are benefiting all the time from the contributions of others, and therefore meaning we have to understand that we're representing people at all times. Now, we don't need to receive that as pressure or overwhelm, but we can start to see it as responsibility and start to walk in that pride. So yeah.
I was in
I love you and hate you for whoever made socks. So if we're supposed to put our feet in the soil and ground, put our feet in the sand and ground, who made the barrier?
Yeah.
Who made the barrier? Okay, someone's gonna come in the comments and say, no, but obviously when we started to build different terrain and we had different terrain to have to walk on, our feet needed to be protected and da-da-da. And I hear all that. But you also set up the situation where now there's just pure barriers between my foot and the earth. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it gone from socks to now we have all different type of footwear and certain footwear thick and heavy. And now man can't connect to the earth. Man can't energize. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Lewis wants to be walking with the ground, Mother Earth.
Man want walk and no say I'm charging up. You see when Michael Jackson, that's what I'm saying. Michael Jackson was ahead of his time. In Billie Jean, when he walks and the steps light up, you know in the Billie Jean video. Don't nod and you don't know. Are you sure?
No, yeah.
Okay, make sure you know
Billie
because you know
Jean
real.
no,
Yeah, but
they're blue, innit?
they're not blue. The lights are blatantly white, Ria. Dun, dun,
Yeah, but
dun,
they're white, but they
dun.
look blue.
Okay, Ria. Anyway, so he was demonstrating to us. He was demonstrating to us how when we walk, we're supposed to be able to connect with the earth beneath us and generate and share and transmute energy. That's what he was. That's what he was demonstrating to us. That's what he was demonstrating to us. What is he here for you to ask him?
No, but
He's not here for you to ask
did
him.
he tell you that?
Okay, but this is my story. But this is my story that I believe I channeled from my inner MJ.
Cool.
Yeah. So unless you're gonna ask him and contest what I'm saying, that's up to
Let
you.
me ask him.
But yeah, chat to him.
He said they're blue. That's all I'm gonna say.
Insert a clip right now of the Billie Jean video. Ah, what colour is that, Ria? What colour is that? Guys, it's the same colour as the lights in this room. It's white. Yeah? A white with a little yellow tinge, like them lights there. So that's what it is. But anyway, the point is,
blue light though. That's what we're saying. That's blue light.
Why is it blue light?
I'm not saying anymore.
Nah.
Let's carry on.
She's trying to do too much. She's trying to do too much. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But anyway, yeah. Shout outs and also why to the person who put barriers between my foot and the ground, and the person who, I mean, I know someone's gonna say, yeah, but we needed the ground to be different so that we could move more efficiently. Because if it was still just mud and grass, we wouldn't be able to like walk on it as efficiently, or we wouldn't be able to roll things on it. We wouldn't be able to put cars and vehicles. And I hear all that, but there's just a lack of access from my foot to the ground. I don't have time to go to the park every day, and I wish I could. Maybe I need to put myself in a position to do so. But fam,
maybe you just need a garden.
That's a good point. And actually, the next house I'm gonna buy, I'm gonna try and make sure I got access to that. Still, I'm in the process.
Garden.
You don't pray for me. Make sure I can secure this house by February. But anyway, that's been us. Daily decisions dominate one day at a time. My name is Lewis.
My name is Ria.
We'll see you on the next episode.